So you want to buy your first home, but you don't know where to begin because you've got all this short-term debt, these car loans, personal loans. How much does this actually impact how much you can borrow? Even daycare costs. So I'm a mortgage advisor. I've gone through tons of people's bank statements and applications, and I kind of have a pretty good idea how much these things would impact you. So let's just get straight into the numbers. First up, we've got one of the most common loans, which is a car loan. Now, if your repayments were $150 per week, this will reduce your borrowing power by $100,000. In other words, if you were wanting to borrow $800,000 because of this car loan at $150 per week, you could only borrow around $700,000. If your repayments are less than $150, then obviously your borrowing power would be better, and if you're paying more than $150, then your borrowing power would reduce even further. Now, let's assume that you decide to suddenly go on a holiday, go to a safari, and you took out a personal loan, and your repayments for this holiday is now $50 per week. This would reduce your borrowing power by $35,000. Now, what about if you racked up huge amounts of credit card debt and you went on a shopping spree and you suddenly went to buy all these new Legos out there? Well, if you got a $10,000 credit card limit, it will reduce your borrowing capacity by about $55,000. So if it's $20,000 credit card limit, then it'll be $110,000. Now, what about if you suddenly, decide to start a family and you now have got a little one that goes to daycare? Well, daycare cost is pretty expensive here, and you're paying $350 per week. Well, this will equate to roughly reducing your borrowing power by $200,000. Now, what about other loans? What about the student loan that you've decided to take on and go to study? Well, the student loan is a little bit more unique. It is based on income. The more you earn, the bigger the repayments, therefore reducing your borrowing capacity. So this is actually based on income. Everyone's situation is different. If you're not going up to the maximum borrowing capacity that you want, then having some of these loans may actually not impact how much you could borrow because you're not going up to the maximum amount. So this is why it's very important to speak to a mortgage advisor. They will give you that guidance and advice, and then so that you can have a better idea what is your borrowing capacity. And if you're new to my page, I'm your financial engineer. I'm all about mortgages and personal finance tips. So if you want to learn more, be sure to follow and like.